Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. Hey, David, what the crypto Dave? What do you think of our new titles? Do you like them?
Good, good. I was thinking, man, that guy has a wicked beard, man. I can't do that.
We need to get some pictures of you kind of in the crypto world, and we can do that. So, listen, thank you so much again for joining us this Thursday.
Like,
It's a really great pleasure to have these chats with you. And I've had some feedback actually that these informal chats are really beneficial to people that are trying to understand the crypto world, not just the crypto world, but kind of the stock market, how it works, etc., 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 etc. And I know that certainly over the next couple of weeks we're going to are spending some time focusing on the crypto world, but I think we can also expand that to more traditional stocks and shares when we get to that point, right? But crypto is the hot topic at the moment. So let's dive into it without much more of a ado. Last week and this week, there's still been some volatility in the market. So what's driving that, mate? And is it still a case of hold on for dear life, or what are your thoughts, mate? How's it going?
yeah, so as you know, I'm a big fan of hodling. Again, I trading back in the days, but I did the backwards calculation. I would have done much better if I hodled Bitcoin. Like for example, when Bitcoin was at $2,000 a piece,
Yeah,
I was trading back and forth for like 5, 10, 20 Bitcoins at a time to earn that
really.
small 5, 10%, right? But if you think about it, if I had a hodl, the 20, 30 Bitcoin I was trading around, would be a very different story right now, wouldn't it? So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely a
you're
hold.
right.
Look, as I mentioned, I think in the last podcast, there was a futures expiry, options expiry that was going to happen in the month. This happens at every single month. So when that happens, there's a lot of volatility. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit, there are different ways you can buy Bitcoin. So traditionally,
Yeah,
like you and I, we will go to the exchange, we buy Bitcoin, and we actually can hold the physical or virtual Bitcoin itself. How a lot of the institutional guys, the big guys, because of compliance and regulations and stuff like that, and just the risk of holding a Bitcoin because of risk of hacks and stuff like that, they can actually buy
yeah,
the physical Bitcoin itself, but they won't take exposure to the market itself. So what they will do is they will buy the kind of a synthetic, basically made a product that has a bunch of market data kind of aggregated and say this is the price of Bitcoin. If you want to buy it, you buy it with cash. You buy it with cash, but you settle with cash. You basically get cash in return, and then you
okay,
basically your price kind of follows up and down based on this market data. But you actually don't hold any physical Bitcoin yourself at any point. So these are essentially what we call contracts, and they expire at the end of the month. So what happens is a lot of the big guys are buying it. They're buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of these contracts, billions of dollars worth of these contracts. And when they expire, some of them manipulate the actual the market we play in. So there's
yeah,
fluctuation there, fluctuation here, and trying to basically game the system. So if we saw there's a big expiration that happened last Friday, is volatility. Then the weekend went back up again, right? So I think 80% of the time since the whole futures went live a couple of years ago, this has been the recurring theme.
it's. I think you're right. It's taken me a long time to get to the point where I just want to leave it in there and let it go, right? Because I'm I'm a bit of a knee jerker by nature. I knee jerk a lot. I'll change direction a lot and I'll pivot a
Yeah.
lot. But it's taken me since we've started to spend a lot more talking about it. It's taken me a lot more time, and I'm a lot more aware now that I should just kind of, as you say, put it in and don't look at it. Right now, I'm going to tell you, I still look at it, but I'm not so twitchy fingered in terms of kind of take the money out or put it back in. So yeah, I think your advice there about hodl is is great. Have you got any thoughts about what's been happening with Ethereum? So over the past week or so, suddenly that's kind of taken a big jump. And I believe, I forget his name, but the founder of Ethereum is now the youngest ever billionaire or something, right?
Yeah, he's 27, 28, right? He's only like, he's around my age. No, I'm kidding. He's much
my age.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ethereum, it's big because they have some big upgrades going up. So as we discussed Ethereum is how I kind of compare it to the real market that we're in, is they're kind of the Amazon. So they're kind of back on Amazon platform. Everybody kind of builds the stores on top of that, right?
Yeah.
One thing about Ethereum that has really been its Achilles heel is that if you want to build something on top of Ethereum and you want to run transaction through the system, kind of like Amazon, you run transaction through the system, one is slow, and two is very, very expensive.
Okay.
So they actually have created this, but they have been promising for a long time, but they have promised some big upgrades in the near future. There's a big one coming up basically a year and a half from now. But between now and then, there are kind of stepping stones of upgrades. One of the upgrades is talking about finding a new upgrade that would actually decrease what they call gas fees, basically transaction fee. And that's a big one, right? Instead of paying, going to a store, using a Visa card, and say, I want to buy this Starbucks coffee, cost me $5 US, but the Visa is going to charge $30. Doesn't make sense anymore, right? So basically, they're going to address on the Ethereum platform. It's going to decrease the gas fees by a lot. So that's one reason why the price has gone up, because anticipation that everything go very well. Another thing about Ethereum is opposite of Bitcoin is not a deflationary currency. You can go and have a rig. You can go mine Ethereum, and there's exponential amount of Ethereum that could be mined. There's another upgrade that's happening. I think 1 or 2 months from now. It's called Berlin. Essentially, it will take that whole system, without going to in the weeds of it, and make it a deflationary currency. So what that means is Ethereum will start going down in terms of actual limits of supply. So that's a big change in terms of how Ethereum has operated for the past 3-4 years. And obviously, people are very excited about the anticipation of how that's going to affect the market, also affect the new kind of products building on top of it as well.
So there's some really interesting changes just of reach, right? That really do impact the crypto world. I guess one thing I did want to speak to you about in terms of the big impact on the crypto world at the moment is the Elon Musk coin, although it's not the Elon Musk coin, the Doge coin, right? Yeah. I've invested, again, a very, very small amount. I've invested in that, and I've seen my money grow exponentially in the last couple of weeks, beyond my wildest dreams. And again, it is nowhere near enough for me to retire. It's probably about enough for me to take Anya out for a meal, right? And a nice meal, but it's just encouraging to see that kind of growth. I know. You're just sharing your insights. You're not there's not an official financial advisor or anything like that. But what do you think? What does the future look like for Dogecoin? I guess because I'm hearing mixed stories. Right, I spoke to somebody who's in the crypto world, and he was a little bit reluctant to get onto the Dogecoin train because it doesn't look at the moment that it's got the regulations that it needs to, for it to be supported on exchanges such as Coinbase. There's other people out there that are going, look, for the sake of a decent meal, for the sake of $100, let's say, I might as well throw it in there and see what happens. So kind of, I guess it's probably an amalgamation somewhere. It's probably in the middle, but what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, so full disclosure, I don't own any Dogecoin, and it's a coin I love to hate because I didn't get into it early enough, to be honest. God, I thought about pulling the trigger so many times, but every time I didn't, and every time I see going up, I just hate myself and I hate the coin. But anyway, it's all about the community behind it, right? What is value in money, right? There's no intrinsic value in money itself, except for the people who believe that there's value. The same thing is happening with cryptocurrency, and the same thing really is happening with Dogecoin, which really doesn't have any real world application, but it's a currency. People put their faith behind it. There's a community that really, takes it into a next level. It's kind of a cultish kind of fan base behind it. And then now it's time to go in mainstream adoption. You got Gemini that has listed its recent Dogecoin, and Gemini in the States is one of the most regulated stock exchanges. Actually, started by the Winklevoss twins, the person who sued Mark Zuckerberg for taking this idea.
Wow.
So one of the world's most regulated exchanges just listed Dogecoin, which means that from a regulatory perspective, they have got some clarity in some sort in the States, right? Obviously, you got Mark Cuban now saying that he would accept Dogecoin as a payment. He also said he doesn't plan to sell any of his Dogecoins. And I think the growth here could be very, very exponential from here. All of a sudden, Gemini is listing it. It's not so far away. I think Coinbase to list it, because Coinbase is also regulated just like Gemini as well. Then we look at places like Japan, JFSA. They're really regulated as well. They can list it as well. And the good thing about Dogecoin, unlike a lot of other coins, is there's actually no really founders or developers. They all kind of picked up and just left. So this whole system, this whole currency is left without a leader, which means that also it's quite harmless, right? There's no kind of a centralized group of people who's doing a pump and dump. There's no one in there is trying to just hoard a bunch of from themselves as founders. So it's quite a harmless coin to kind of get behind to a certain extent. So I feel like it's very close to the whole idea of the currency in terms of how movements are, and people really trust in it. And I feel that there's a lot of growth to it because people are getting behind it, and it's harmless. And it's going to be a matter of time before other exchanges start to list it as well, such as Coinbase.
Yeah, I think you preempted my question there. So the fact that Gemini have Dogecoin has passed Gemini's regulations. Do you think now that the other exchanges out there, such as Coinbase, do you think we'll start to see it be, in those exchanges too, so it becomes a little bit more open to the general public?
Yeah, I think Coinbase will list it. It's just a matter of time. I also think it's a matter of time before Tesla does something with it as well. So I think adoption is really starting to happen. So right now, what is that, 60 cents now? I see it seeing $1 by summer is definitely not out of the realm, I feel. And, right now, because of Dogecoin, millionaires being minted everywhere. There are articles about these Dogecoin millionaires. Actually, I was talking to my friend today. She sold her Dogecoin, but at one point, a couple of years ago, she had a couple million Dogecoins. She held on to it. She'd be worth $5-6 million. She was like, big they're going to be minted because of the whole thing. So yeah, I think there's a lot more room to run for Dogecoin, but volatility is great. If you're basing your capital and your life saving on a meme coin, I would advise against it. Not financial advice, but yeah, put a bit in. I wish I would put a bit. I might put a bit in now, but yeah, I think put a bit in is okay.
I think I honestly I put a very small amount in when it was 5, maybe 10 cents. So I've had a bit of a return on it at the moment, but I'm just good because it's such a small amount. I'm just going to keep it in and see where it goes to. I'll be over the moon if it shows the same growth that we saw with Bitcoin, right? The other question that I've got regarding the coins is Polkadot. So I've seen Polkadot kind of start to rate. It's not its ugly head by any stretch of the imagination, but it starts to come on the radar a little bit. What are your thoughts about Polkadot? Is there any growth in there? Is it a worthwhile investment opportunity? What do you think?
Yeah, so actually, I don't know too much about Polkadot myself, but I know that Polkadot, to me, is kind of a group of other coins that essentially are competing against Ethereum's Achilles heel, right? Idea of not being fast, the transactions are expensive, inflationary currency, blah blah. So they're in the same space as EOS, they're in the same space as Cardano, same space as Tezos, same space as a lot of the other one. Polkadot is one of them. And it's based on essentially the price of it. I think is based on how many things are built out of it, on top of it, and how strong the really community is. And I think that's why Ethereum, from a technology perspective, they're not the best, but there'd be huge community behind it that's be backed by a lot of institutions as well. Bitcoin too, right? It's not the best in terms of technology, but it's a huge community behind it. So I think Polkadot has space to run. But the question is, can Ethereum hold its own based on its new upgrades coming through? And then two, during the meantime, can Polkadot as a community pull some of the projects of Ethereum and throw them onto Polkadot? It has happened already with, for example, the Binance chain. It's put on Binance as well. So it's kind of a push and pull at this point to see who can get the most community support behind it right now.
If you were to give like a crypto Dave hot tip for May in terms of a coin to watch, apart from the ones that we've spoken about, obviously Dogecoin and Polkadot, and of course, Ethereum and Bitcoin. If there was an outsider, like a 50 to 1 shot, as we'd say, or 100 to 1 shot in horse racing, which coin would you suggest to watch for this month? Just watch, not invest, just watch.
Okay. So I think this is what has happened recently now with the whole Dogecoin pump. I think what we have here now is alt season. For people who's been around doing 2017, 2018, this is when alt basically throw money anywhere. You can 2-3x anything. And everybody thought they're like a super awesome trader. And, they're going to tell the boss to screw off. But also at the same time, all season went up and then came down very, very hard, right? Some of the points, 90% of value. And then now it's going back up. So I think all season is, if it's not here, it's very close to being here. Everything is in the green by double digits, so on and so forth. One coin that I look into quite a bit, again, I'm not up to date in terms of the most coolest projects, yada, yada, yada. One thing I hold a decent amount of, and something that I think is a bit of a sleeping giant, is a project called Tezos, TEZOS. Ticker symbol is XTZ.
Okay.
Yeah. And they are kind of in the space of competing against Ethereum. But what's a little bit different about this is it's the founder is French. And him being French, he actually has a lot of support with the French community, as well as some of the French big institutions. So there's kind of a Walmart of France that decided to build on top of that. I think BNP Paribas decided to issue some kind of financial product on top of Tesla's platform. And right now, I think the rank is probably 35, 36. I already seeing a nice run up already, but I think there could be a nice run up in the future in terms of where it's going on the community basis. Also, another thing that they are doing quite well is they call it green NFT. So when you go and take an NFT and you mint it, obviously on some networks, it costs some kind of power. For example, Ethereum, it needs power. So people think that minting a bunch of NFT is actually not good for the environment. It's actually pollution. So on the Tezos networks, it's very, very light in terms of footprint. So they actually market themselves as if you want to mint NFT, mint it on Tezos. It's better for the environment. So some of the NFT guys are starting to mint more NFT arts and goods onto that platform as well. Ubisoft, one of the biggest game developers, also decided to issue out. But decided to do some partnership with Tezos as well in terms of POC, yada yada yada. So I think it's a bit of a sleeping giant. It will take some time, but yeah, that's my advice, and that's what I'll hold.
Nice. I'll have a look at those when we finish the live stream.
Yeah, you can get interest. I'm getting 11% interest on Tezos, so this is
wow.
Good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we kind of pivot to the last topic of today, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, right? The media guru, the guy. He started with the wine library. He created Vayner Media, and he's become like not a Tony Robbins per se, but he's up there with motivational stuff. And the reason I like him is that he just tells it as he is. He doesn't give us any BS. there was rumors, or not rumors actually. Actually, he came out this week with an NFT project that has kind of been delayed.
Yeah.
I think he was planning to launch it this week, and to fair play, he's come out and said, "Look, my team are absolutely shattered. I'm going to give him 2 or 3 days off, so maybe for maybe next week." Do you think there's a chance that his NFT project could shake up the cryptocurrency, or will it just be it's another coin or it's another NFT? We don't need to worry about it or invest in it. What are your thoughts? I don't even know what he's planning on doing, to be honest with you.
Yes, I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I should look it up after this.
Right?
I know the guy, but I didn't know he's actually launching something.
So yeah, it's strange. To be fair, he's done it really well. We're doing so. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not doing it today. No, I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but he's created a lot of noise around what he's planning on doing. So maybe that's something we could discuss over the next couple of weeks of what he's doing. So let's as we said at the start.
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting because that guy's smart. Anyway, let's kind of pivot to the last part of the live stream podcast now. We did mention at the start that we, as well as crypto, we were going to talk about, your more traditional stocks and shares. And you wanted to share about, you take it away. You wanted to talk about the US stock market and something that you're seeing there, right?
Yeah. So essentially, it's kind of funny because in terms of the stock market, a lot of times is, again, kind of like cryptocurrency is based on sentiments rather than fundamentals, especially the kind of weekly and daily changes and stuff like that. The reason why there was a big drop in terms of stock markets actually last week was because of the Yellen, the new Treasury Secretary, basically says it could be a hint of increase in interest rate. Increase in interest rate essentially would be more expensive for companies to borrow money. And what got hit especially hard are what we call the growth stocks. So the growth stocks will be non-blue chip, so things such that needs a lot of money in order to operate. They borrow a lot of money to operate. So the ones like the Teslas, so the ones that are essentially net platform based companies, these guys will run red for quite some time, but they need to borrow a lot of money in order to sustain themselves. So we see some fluctuations in terms of stock market in general because of that statement. And I think, we'll see what happens in the near future, but some of these risky assets, or the one risky assets that need to borrow a lot of money in order to operate and grow, people call them risky assets. People, when interest rates go up, people like to get rid of that. So we see a big drop, and in tandem, they see, those group of people also see Bitcoin cryptocurrency as a risky asset as well. So when market moves because of these kind of things, so does risky assets, quote unquote risky assets, as Bitcoin and things move as well. So we should also keep an eye on in terms of what's happening in traditional market, because they do move in tandem in terms of risk appetite.
Your knowledge and your breadth of knowledge to me is outstanding. I can talk quite a good game about sports, right? Football and rugby and maybe a little bit of golf, and they're my hobbies. This world, the crypto world and the stocks and share world, like the back of your hand. I'm just amazed by it, honestly. I really am. Crypto Dave, I love that. That's going to be our new hashtag for the show. We're gonna share that across all our social media platforms.
Yeah,
we're very fortunate to be able to do these live streams in conjunction with konek.work, right? So I know you're heavily involved. Well, I don't know if heavily involved, but certainly you're aware of konek.work. Maybe before we end the live stream, you'd like to maybe share with our audience out there exactly what do konek.work do, and how anybody out there could benefit in just registering on the website.
Yeah, so konek.work, I don't want to be too much of a salesperson here, but essentially working on for a bit of time with friends. The idea is we want to decentralize the whole idea of recruitment. We all have good networks of people that are looking for jobs, looking for good opportunities. Rather than relying on recruiters, why don't we crowdsource in terms of good people, right? Connect good people with good people, and if your friend joins a company that you introduce, you should get rewarded for it. So everybody essentially can be a freelance recruiter, with integrity, essentially, because it's your friends, your network that you're tapping into in terms of helping them find jobs. You can also find a job as well. So one thing we want to do is take the whole spirit of decentralization, which is cryptocurrency, and apply that into the whole crowdsourcing of candidates rather than referring on centralized agencies. Another thing that we are going to do is we'll be paying out in Bitcoin. So
Nice.
this way, yes, we will peg against fiat, but we will pay out in Bitcoin. And the idea is we want to increase the adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And the reason is because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has changed my mindset and changed my life. And of course, I can give you fiat, but it takes another step for you to go buy cryptocurrency. But if I grab the cryptocurrency as a reward now, you might end up holding it, and maybe a little bit of cryptocurrency now can change your life in 5-6 years from now. So I want to promote that.
That's wonderful. You're such a genuine guy. You know, it just means, honestly, I think it's fantastic. So kudos to you and the team over at konek.work. I think it's great what you're doing out there. If there is anybody out there that's interested in terms of getting involved in podcasting or live streaming and how that can benefit their business, please drop us a line over here at the Podcast Coach. We'd love to work with you. We've got some exciting projects that are coming up with Mr. Yang there. I need to speak to him after so he knows what's going on. But yeah, just get in touch. Anything regarding podcasting, live stream, or even cryptocurrency and recruitment as well. Now we're throwing everything in the mix. Get in touch and we'll help you out. David, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for freely giving up your time. It's wonderful to have these conversations with you. And it's just great. Audience members, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We've had a lot of positive comments over the past couple of weeks about how much we're helping the everyman out there, just to shed some light on kind of what's going on in the crypto world. If you've got any questions or anything you'd like us to discuss in future sessions, please get in touch. You can find us across all social media platforms. Ultimately, we're here to help. That's kind of what we're doing. So for myself, a podcast Paul, and the newly christened Crypto Dave, have a wonderful day. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.